Hello, movie fans, and welcome to Real Movie Talk. This is the show where we talk everything films and the industry that surrounds them. I'm your host, Dak, and with me, as always, is Ben.
Welcome to the podcast again.
Episode 11. And before we jump in, I'd also like to just thank you all for watching and subscribing. Our past couple of episodes have done very, very well. Really well, in fact. Really nice view counts on those. And we're nearly at 100 subscribers already, which is crazy. I mean, this is the 11th episode, and we're already near 100 subscribers. I think that's really awesome. So I want to thank you guys all, just for listening, subscribing, and just enjoying these shows. And we love doing them, so we're going to keep doing them every single week. So as usual, we're going to be going through all the week's news, and we're also going to be reviewing 3 movies this week. We're going to be reviewing Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee, and also Welcome to Marwen. So let's jump into the news. I'm going to start off with Idris Elba, who has been talking about a Luther film, which is currently in the works. Now, Luther is a really interesting, detective-style show that's on the BBC, starring Idris Elba. Something that lends itself very well, I feel, to a film big screen adaptation, and now Idris Elba is saying that is actually happening. And I think this is actually quite interesting. Whether it will translate to a film is a different story, in terms of, the narrative, but I feel like this is an interesting idea that I'd definitely like to see come to fruition.
Yeah, I have never watched the show. I know roughly what's it about. I know some people that really like it. So I say when it comes to stuff like this, like recently we heard maybe Game of Thrones was considering having a film made about it, and we have that new Breaking Bad film. So
Walking Dead film as well.
yeah, like that. And when it comes to stuff like this, I say give it a shot, and you know I think it could work really well in terms of because this show is really well received, maybe they get, the best people they can and it really works. And, for stuff like this, I'm open to it. And I will, if this film actually comes out and actually is working on, I will definitely catch up on the show because people really, really do like this.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix, so it's be pretty easy. But has this ever actually been done before, though? Has there ever is there actually any big unless my mind's completely going blank, are there any actual big screen adaptations of TV shows? And I'm not talking about cartoons. I mean actual live action shows.
Do you mean the same cast or
Yeah, yeah,
influenced by?
yeah. Same cast, yeah.
Um,
Because I can't think of any.
oh, probably only Scooby Doo or but that's sort of animation. So
Yeah,
um,
because I mean, cartoons and animations do it a lot. Even this year we had Teen Titans go to the movies and stuff like that. But I mean, in terms of something like this, live action with the same cast doing a film of it, I don't know if it's anything that's been done before. But if this is a new thing, I'm definitely interested to see how they pan out. Especially because especially for me, I really love The Walking Dead, so I'm very interested in these this Rick Grimes trilogy they're doing. I'm very interested in that, and I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about the Breaking Bad stuff. And in regards to Luther, although I've never seen the show either, I think it does look very good, and I've always seen a lot of advertisements for it. I've always thought it looked cool, and yeah, if they do this movie, I'll definitely watch the show. And I like Idris Elba, baseline. I love Idris Elba, so it's nice to see him kind of getting some lead actor work again.
and I've actually thought of one. You you remember the original Batman TV show? They did a film
Oh yeah,
with
that's
the same
true.
cast.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's just the best.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
love it so much. Yeah.
I do love those classics. They are just amazing to watch. I really wanted to get the big Blu-ray box set of it. I haven't got it yet, but I do plan on getting it at some point. Now we also got the first official images from Entertainment Weekly for Guy Ritchie's live-action Aladdin movie. Reception online has been lukewarm, to put it kindly. It's been interesting to see the different opinions, though. Obviously, you have a lot to say about this because you've been on the set.
Yeah. So obviously I recognize a lot of this stuff, and I talked heavily. The other day I met the costume designer again. I met the production designer again a few days ago. So obviously I'm sort of biased because I was there. I saw all the actors in their clothes and performing, doing the acting. I talked to the actress who's playing Jasmine. I got to see Will Smith and stuff. Biased. I'm really looking forward to it. I really love this. Yes, I can see why people were scared. Oh, the genie's not blue or whatever. But I have to say, from what I've from what I've heard in early test screenings, and I can reveal this, it's got a really, really high response, really, really good response. And saying it for the sake of it, I've actually been told this. And yes, Will Smith will turn blue in the film for a lot of the film, so don't worry about that. I can tell you he looks really cool as well. I've seen what he looks like. But yes, so I understand like maybe the front cover for Entertainment Weekly, that's not the best cover they could have done. Look at the photos and actually look carefully. Just look at the set design and the detail and how beautiful this film is actually going to look. That's what you should really, really look out for. And just really excited for this. What did you think? Because I know a lot of people online were sort of like, don't know about this, So
I'm gonna be honest. I really like these photos. Like, if I'm honest, like I know a lot of people were mixed on them. I think they look really good. I mean, the cover's not great, but Entertainment Weekly doesn't exactly have a great history when it comes to covers. But the actual photos and stuff, I really like it. I think the movie looks stylistically really good. I think the costumes look great. I think all the actors and actresses look great in their roles. Like I said, the actress who plays Jasmine, I really loved her in Power Rangers.
Oh
So,
yeah, same.
like when she was
Same.
cast in this, I was very, very happy. I like her a lot. The guy who was playing Aladdin, he was in Jack Ryan this year, the TV series of Jack Ryan, which I also loved, and he had a very small role in it, but he was still very good. And then in regards to the Will Smith being blue thing, like I kind of took that as a given anyway. I was like, yeah, sure he'll be in his normal form because it's Will Smith. They're not going to cover up Will Smith, are they? Like, it's just, and Will Smith won't have that. He's star of YouTube Rewind. He's not going to do that.
Also, if you've, I've read the entire screenplay, by the way, so obviously can't reveal stuff, but sure, if I can remember, I haven't watched the original Aladdin recently, but doesn't he at one point disguise himself as a human?
I'm going to be honest, I've never seen Aladdin.
Never seen it, but I'm pretty sure I haven't watched it in like God knows how long, like 10 years, but I'm pretty sure he disguises himself as the human
Well, I mean,
who,
if that's
you
the
know,
case, then obviously they're just being accurate. But I think
yeah.
if you're gonna go, if you're the genie and you're gonna be in a disguise, you can't really do a lot better than Will Smith, really. So at the end of the day, I don't really see why they would cover him up. And also, Will Smith's like one of the most charismatic actors in the business. So I'm sure people will complain about it now, but when they see the movie, they'll just be like, yeah, but Will Smith's really good in it though, which he will be. I just want to see like how he is actually gonna look in the blue makeup and how he's gonna act it, because obviously comparisons naturally going to come to Robin Williams, but I don't really feel like that's fair. I think it's just you've got to look at it as this is just a new interpretation and a different interpretation, and how he's going to handle that interpretation is yet to be seen. But I think that's really cool, and like I say, I really like these images. Even though, again, I'm not attached to Aladdin in any way. I've never seen it. I've never seen a lot of those Disney classics because I just didn't really grow up with them. They weren't really. It was like kind of past my time a little bit. But I'm really excited about what Disney's doing with these live action, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of Guy Ritchie, I think he's doing a really good job here. He's very 50-50 with me as a director. Like, there are some films he's made that I absolutely love, and there are others that I'm not so hot on, but I really like the teaser, and I really like these photos as well, so I'm down for this movie. I'm completely down.
Yeah, I'm really down for it as well. Number one, yes, I was there, so obviously I want to see it. But number two, I love Disney and I love their original classics, and I love these new films like Beauty and the Beast. I love all these different ones they've been putting out recently, and I'm just here all for that magic and excited to see it.
Yeah, I think the movie just looks really cool, and I like these images, so yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Now, we also got a couple of other images from Entertainment Weekly for John Wick Chapter 3. I'm very, very excited about this movie too. I love John Wick 1 and 2. They were just like these, like, the first John Wick was like such a nice surprise. Nobody really expected anything from it. Everyone thought it was just going to be like a generic movie that should have gone straight to DVD, but instead it got released in theaters. But it was actually really good. And John Wick 2, I'd say, is pretty much equally as good. So, safe to say, I'm excited about John Wick 3, and these images are really cool. I mean, the first one is just kind of generic. It's just him kind of in a metropolis kind of cityscape sort of thing in the rain, which is, I mean, it's a cool shot, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of average it's what you'd expect. But the second one is very interesting. We see him in the desert with a new dog. We see him with a German Shepherd, and he's also with Halle Berry's character, Sophia, who has now finally been revealed. So, what do you think about these images?
Um, yes, they look very, very John Wick, especially that rain photo you said. I'm gonna be honest, I've never watched John Wick in my life,
Oh, really?
so
Oh, they're really cool. They're just fun. They're fun
yeah,
movies.
I to watch them, but something like these two images probably excite people who've seen the other films, but for me, I'm just like, yeah, I know, it's John Wick. He's sort of like an action guy, looks kind of actiony. I don't know. You shouldn't like listen to me on my take because I haven't watched it. So
Yeah, I mean, you definitely should. They're just like these. They're just fun action films, and they have like some amazing choreography in them. But these, what they did with John Wick 2 in particular in terms of the world building has got me very excited for this. I believe there's a John Wick TV series in the works as well, which is based on like this hotel they have in the second film that they introduce, like a hotel for assassins, basically. It's really cool, and apparently that's kind of what they're working on, and they're kind of stemming the third film off of that, like the story off of that. So it's really interesting, and I'm very excited to see what they do with this. And seeing John Wick in the desert, that's like a very very different setting to what we're used to with John Wick. He's very much, a lot of the time based in cities and bustling areas, nightclubs, things like that. It's very, very closed and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Very crowded sort of areas. Whereas this is like completely open, so that's really cool. I believe I read in the report, because I remember I was reporting on this for that hashtag show, and I remember I was reading that apparently John Wick stumbles across Halle Berry's character of Sophia when he's tracking across the Middle East. So this is in the Middle East somewhere. So that's really interesting. I'm definitely really excited to see why he goes there, because I won't spoil it too much, but let's just say by the end of John Wick 2, he's being very heavily hunted. So I assume he goes to this place as it's incredibly remote, but I'm definitely excited about that. And I'm very excited about this movie. I think it comes out in May next year, so that's I think that's quite a brave release date. But this movie is the second one in particular did quite well, so I'm very excited about this. So we also got a little bit of news which I found interesting, which was that apparently Adam McKay was offered the director's position of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, Adam McKay is the director of films like The Big Short. He's directing Vice coming out this year, which can I also say I'm seeing Vice early, which I'm very, very excited about. But yeah, Adam McKay, I think this would have been a really interesting choice had he actually agreed to do it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I loved the other guys, and that is the only film I've watched from him. I'm pretty sure.
You should watch The Big Short. That's pretty good.
Sure, it's really good, but I love the other guys, and the comedy elements in his films definitely would play to Guardians of the Galaxy. So I would like to see it if it would ever happen, or if it was going to happen. I would have liked to see it. So he is sort of like above superhero films. I don't know. I don't mean to say it in a way that like degrades superhero films, but like his films have been getting like Oscar nominations, for screenplays, and I feel like probably not gonna do it if I would actually just guess. But
Yeah, it kind of I kind of see what you're saying there. It does kind of seem like a little bit below what he would normally do, especially these days. Like after The Big Short and now doing Vice and things like that, he's kind of like moving up the ladder, in a way. But yeah, I think his directing style, the way his comedy plays, because he also directed the Anchorman films. Let's not forget. He also directed Step Brothers as well, which I think is a really funny film. So his comedy taste is very well displayed, and I think it would have been an interesting choice. I think he's a good fit. The other fit that I've seen that I would have really liked, which I also believe this was maybe debunked, which was Travis Knight, the director of Bumblebee, especially after seeing Bumblebee, which I'm trying to hold in my excitement, but I'll get to it. I would have liked to have seen that as well. But this is definitely interesting, and I believe he said he turned it down, didn't he?
yeah, I believe he actually said that. I don't know if there's any chance still, but
Well, I believe it was worded that he was offered the role, which obviously I would take that as, okay, he was offered it and he declined. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's kind of the way it went. But definitely an interesting choice, and I'm just still really interested as to who they're actually going to get to do this film and when it will actually come out. It's just it's interesting to me, and how this is all kind of, Guardians 3 was probably one of the films they were fast tracking the most, and then after the whole James Gunn situation, it all just completely fell through. And finally, we got some of the first official images from Jordan Peele's next directorial effort in the form of Us. We get to see some really awesome images here, and this film, as obviously being kind of like a spiritual follow-up to Get Out in a way, at least that's how people are going to be treating it, at least. I think these images look really, really interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. They really got my attention. I love that poster. I think we talked about the poster.
Cool, yeah.
But these new images really, really caught my attention. The one film I haven't seen in the last few years that is really, really good apparently is Get Out. I have not seen it.
Get Out.
Everyone recommends it.
I really enjoy Get Out, even as someone, because the thing is, I'm not exactly like the biggest horror fan. I mean, I do like horror films and I do watch them, but like they're not my favorite genre. But I really like Get Out, because the thing is with Get Out is that it's not even, I wouldn't even call it horror really. It's just weird. Like the film's just really weird. It just messes with your head, and that's why I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, I need to get round to that, but I love these photos, especially that family photo. I'm pretty sure it's the family. That looks so creepy, and I really do trust Jordan Peele. I think he's such a great comedian, but also with him and his success with Get Out, even though I haven't watched it, I trust him and I look forward to it because, everyone talks about it. And I'm reading an article, actually. He was like, he sort of emphasized what's going on in the plot and the influences. Jordan Peele, told Joe, I think that's how you say her name. So he said to watch Dead Again, The Shining, The Babadook, It Follows, A Tale of Two Sisters, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs, Let the Right One In, and The Sixth Sense. And that is what excites me as well, just as much as the photos, because number one, The Shining is one of my favorite films of all time. The Babadook is one of the best recent films. And also, you have The Birds, which is like just an amazing film by Hitchcock. And so I love the influence and I love these photos. So everything adding up with Jordan Peele and this cast, just be there. And horror being my favorite genre, this calls out to me.
Yeah, it definitely grabbed my attention too. Like when I was just seeing these images come through, I thought, yeah, this looks really fruitful. I think the movie just, when it kind of popped out of these images, and I kind of it sort of like really poked out to me and was like, yes, you need to look at this. And I thought, yeah, these are really cool images. I like these, and it does get me excited. And I'm a big fan of Get Out, so I'm definitely very excited about this. I like Jordan Peele. He proved himself very much as a horror director in Get Out, and also as a writer as well. So I think he's going to do a great job with this, and I think this movie is going to do very, very well, I'm sure. So bring it on. Has this movie got a release date?
Yes. Sorry about the background.
Sorry.
One sec.
Yeah, I don't know when the movie exactly is coming out. I believe it's coming out in, I think it should be next year. It might be early 2020. I'm not too sure. But it will be coming out sometime in the next couple of years. So it'll be really cool to see how this movie does eventually come together, and I'm definitely excited about it. So that's good. Now finally we got two trailers this week as well. First off, we got the Hellboy trailer. I don't know, it was a bit of a mixed bag.
The Hellboy trailer, I was excited for this film. I haven't seen the Guillermo del Toro ones, but I've seen basically every other Guillermo del Toro film, so I'm a massive fan of him. And seeing this trailer, I think the posters look cool, but then seeing the trailer, I was like, oh my god. I think it looks like a sack of shit, if I'm honest. I thought the trailer was terrible.
Yeah, I saw you kind of ranting about it on Twitter. I kind of saw it, and I was completely thrown off at first because I didn't realize what this was. I was like, is this like a British comedy? I was completely I thought it was something completely different. And then, yeah, the movie, I think it does have some good lines, and the song they use is incredible, and then, Mo from EastEnders shows up for some reason. But then I was just kind of like, yeah, this movie's, some of it really works for me, and some of it really doesn't. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about David Harbour. Like, I can't quite tell if he's playing it that deadpan, or like if that's intentional, and I don't know how it was played in the originals with Ron Perlman. But like, he came across just kind of boring and dull and lifeless. And again, that might be what the character's like. I don't know. But that's how it came across to me. And I like David Harbour. I love him in Stranger Things. I think he's great. And I thought it was a great casting, and he still could be. I'm not gonna, throw away all that just yet. But in terms of first impressions, yeah, the movie was just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, I really just didn't like this trailer. I thought, yes, they're trying to do something along the lines of Deadpool, but it didn't feel like that. It felt really cheap, and it felt like it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Something in it, English comedy sort of route that it was going for, I didn't understand. I didn't really laugh at all. I felt like when he shouts and he's like, "Hey," I felt like he was
Yeah.
definitely embodying Deadpool, but not doing it right. And English humor, I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. And the only bit that was kind of funny was that grandma, that like old woman, when she's like, "Can I didn't she have a Cockney accent?
It's Mo from EastEnders.
Some ID? Can I have some ID?" That was kind of funny. That was the only bit I sort of laughed at in the trailer. I don't know. I just really was hoping for something more dark. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the comedy really landed in this trailer, but we'll see in the film.
I need to look who's directing this, because this doesn't. Because obviously Guillermo del Toro directed the originals, and that's obviously like a massive thing. But like, I'm just having a look now as to who directed this, because it doesn't feel like a Hellboy movie really. So the director is Neil Marshall. So he's done films like The Descent. He's also Game of Thrones director as well. Yeah, he's mostly a TV director actually, but he actually directed some episodes of Constantine. Actually, that's quite cool.
Oh, I
Um,
love Constantine. Yeah.
but yeah, the tone doesn't quite mix with what I typically know Hellboy to be. Um, but I'm not going to throw away all judgment just yet on the movie. I'm still going to see it. I'm still pretty excited about it. Just in terms of first impressions, the trailer didn't do it for me. And then same applies for Men in Black International. I was really excited about this trailer. I was really excited about this movie, but this trailer had like so little energy to it, which really surprises me.
Yeah, I'm in the same book. I actually saw them filming it like in London, right? I saw them using flipping helicopters flying around. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So I really do like the original Men in Black film. I don't know if I watched sequels. They all kind of mesh
Yeah,
into one for me.
I do like the original. I've seen the original. I do like it. It's fun.
But I really do like them. I love Will Smith. I love Tommy Lee Jones together, and I'm a big fan of Tessa Thompson. I have to
Mm,
admit,
yeah, I am
I'm
too.
not a big fan. I saw her in Sorry to Bother You. She didn't really impress me. Who impressed me in that was Lakeith Stanfield. I thought he was great. I like the film all too much. But love Thor Ragnarok, but she was my least favorite thing about it. I don't know. I'm just not a massive fan. I'm not on the hype train like a lot of people right now. So this trailer really is my sort of feelings. She felt kind of dull and sort of one dimensional. I don't know.
I think
And
everyone did in this trailer. Like even Chris Hemsworth. His Chris Hemsworth is so funny. Like,
uh,
and he's really found his place now as an actor, like to be a comedian. Because they tried, the frontman Hollywood thing for a while, didn't quite work, but they've really found a place with him in comedy, and
yeah,
like he's really funny. And in this trailer, I mean, obviously a trailer doesn't show. Maybe they're keeping all the best lines for the movie, which I mean, I hope they are doing that. But I didn't really get any hints. Like the lunch line was kind of funny, but it wasn't like a laugh out loud moment like I had in Thor Ragnarok. It wasn't like that. And Tessa Thompson, who I have to disagree with you, I love Tessa Thompson. I think she's great. Like, especially in films like Creed, the Creed movies and things like that. I love her there. But again, just kind of dull. Yeah, kind of lifeless. it just kind of came across this movie had very little energy, and it surprises me because the director of this, F. Gary Gray, who not only directed Straight Outta Compton but followed that up with Fast and Furious 8. You know, Fast and Furious 8 is probably one of the most high energy movies out there. It kind of just came across very flat to me, and even like Liam Neeson was a bit weird. Emma Thompson I liked though, she was cool. I did like her showing up, but yeah, the movie, it just, given the fact I was really excited about this, and I'm still excited about the movie. Like, I do want to see, you know, an expansion of the Men in Black universe. I think that's cool. I like that concept. I just wasn't blown away by this trailer, which I really thought I was going to be. It just kind of like came across as like, and it's almost like the trailer thinks it's more exciting than it is. Like, the trailer comes off as if it's like really cool, really awesome, and then Liam Neeson's like, "Yeah, we are the Men in Black," and it's just like that. It didn't feel earned.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I really did like the original director for Men in Black, Barry Sonnenfeld. He actually runs a series of Unfortunate Events, which is like one of my favorite TV shows. Big fan of him. This just didn't have that same appeal. Yeah, it was kind of similar, but all it felt like was one-dimensional characters shooting laser guns, and I don't know. It just love Liam Neeson. I didn't really like The Commuter recently. He was really good in Widows. I love the Taken films. They're like so much, and you know, I'm a massive fan. I've watched basically all his films, but he didn't really appeal to me. I think he's miscast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Weird one.
Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, yeah, they were in Thor together, but I don't know if they can lead sort of a film like Men in Black. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
Sort of compared to Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, but yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I've seen this point being brought up elsewhere, which is that they kind of the relationship and the dynamic between Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson is very cliche, in the sense that Chris Hemsworth's very kind of relaxed and very kind of, you know, whatever, and Tessa Thompson's like the serious one. And again, I don't think that works, because I think they both work in a bit more of a comedic sense. Like, I think Tessa Thompson can be really funny as well. Like, I liked her in Thor. I thought she was really good in that movie. Because like when you look at like you know, the original Men in Black with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, they were both, you know, pretty competent. I mean, granted, obviously Will Smith was a bit more of a joker, obviously, and that's what made the dynamic great. But like, you know, they were both very competent. It wasn't like one was an idiot and the other one wasn't. Like, they were both pretty much smart people. Whereas this movie, it kind of comes across the other way, and I don't really like that. But speaking of Liam Neeson, just kind of going on a tangent, have you seen the trailer for his movie Cold Pursuit?
A while ago, but I don't really remember it too well.
I just wanted to know your thoughts on it, because I was just kind of thinking, like, I mean, you can watch it again later, but I was just like, I saw the trailer for it for the first time the other day, and I have no idea what that movie is going to be like. But anyway, yeah, Men in Black International. I'm still holding out hope for it, but this first trailer, yeah, first impressions are not too strong. So, moving over to our reviews, we've got 3 reviews this week. So, we're going to start off with Mary Poppins Returns. I'm going to hand it over to you. I have not seen this yet. I was meant to watch it tonight, but I didn't get around to it. So, go ahead.
So, Mary Poppins Returns, the technically sequel to the first one, but it's more of like a sort of homage and definitely not a remake. And stars Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ben Whishaw, backed by an incredible cast of young kids who are just so charming and so great. And Streep, there's Colin Firth, all these, you know, famous actors all combined together in Rob Marshall's new film. He directed Into the Woods. Angela Lansbury comes along, you know, she's linked to Beauty and the Beast because she was originally in that. And so there's some nice, really... It's also Julie Walters in it. I'm a massive fan of Julie Walters. So this film is practically perfect in every way. I have not enough words to describe how amazing and how touching and how beautifully wonderful and magical this film is. And it's visually gorgeous. It touches on the legacy of the original film, but doesn't tarnish it. It's something new, and Emily Blunt is just outstanding. Like, I'm rooting for her nomination. I really want her to actually win. I think she's just incredible as Mary Poppins. She really sort of embodies her, and she doesn't try to copy Julie Andrews. She's her own version of Mary Poppins. And so the film feels very traditionally English and authentic. And I haven't seen a film like this in a long time. Like recently, I watched It's a Wonderful Life. That was like a proper sort of callback traditional American film. This feels like a traditional English film, and it was just so great. And the musical numbers are joyous. And at points, I was weeping because it has its very sad, melancholic undertones throughout, and really is amazing at singing, along with obviously Lin-Manuel Miranda um, from Hamilton, and you have music numbers by Dick Van Dyke, Angela Lansbury, Meryl Streep, Ben Whishaw, among other people, and all is so great. And I just love these kids so much, and they all sort of just bounce off each other, and it's really energetic, really magical, and just a perfect film in my opinion. It's right up there with my favorite films of the year, and I can't recommend it enough. It's just magical, wonderful, absolutely outstanding.
I have to say, I am pretty excited about it. I wasn't quite sure about it. Like when I first heard about it, I thought, like, is this just another one of those kind of cash grab things? But I do like the trailer. I'm very interested to see Lin-Manuel Miranda because I definitely like his turn going from Hamilton and a stage actor into such a big film straight away, and he's gotten so many roles already. Like after this coming up, like he's doing very well for himself. But also like the supporting cast of this is incredible. Like Meryl Streep's in this, Colin Firth in this. I need more Dick Van Dyke in my life, and this movie's gonna give it to me. I love Dick Van Dyke so much. And yeah, Emily Blunt is an absolute treasure. I love her, and definitely this role seems very well suited to her. I remember I think she said the other day she wants to do a sequel to this as well. So I'm
Yeah,
sure,
yeah, I heard about that.
yeah, I'm sure that'll happen.
I'm so down if they do it the same way, if they keep it the same and they don't sort of, do it for the sake of getting money, but do it for the sake of actually having this great story told again and advanced on from this. I think this is yeah, and I think it's a worthy sequel. And Emily Blunt is just a star. She's stunned so much in this, and this film is so touching, but also magical at the same time. And yeah, I just I don't have enough words. This film, I want to see it again right now. Gonna see it probably in the next few days again. So go see it in cinemas.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna plan and see it tomorrow night. I think that's probably when I'll see it. Now the next movie, just so we can kind of get out of the way as well, because I think for the last one it'd be good if we could both talk about it. So I'm gonna hand it back over to you. This is a very early review for Welcome to Marwen, Steve Carell's new film.
Yeah, so Welcome to Marcus, starring Steve Carell. We have Diane Kruger. We have all these amazing new cast members, like some of them less well known but amazing. Especially, I have to shout out Isa Gonzalez
Oh, I love
from
Gonzalez.
Baby Driver. She's just so good. She has a pretty big role to play, actually, not like bigger than I thought she would. And also, we have Leslie Mann. She's just charming. Yeah, so an amazing cast. Is outstanding. Yes, this film sort of hasn't got a very good reception from a lot of people online, but like me not liking Black Panther, but everyone else loving it, I really, really did love this film, and I thought the way it combined in reality and this fantasy that Steve Carell's character actually creates to escape the troubles of the real world in this sort of action figure like way is just so incredible. And it's rather sort of a new vision that I haven't seen on the new screen. And the direction from Zemeckis, who obviously did Forrest Gump and Back to the Future, is just really sleek and stylized. And they love this. Like, it warmed my heart. It and it was, rather sort of reminiscent of a film like Toy Story at times because of the action figures and like sort of the way that it was done. And love this film, and throughout the film there are tons of references from Zemeckis' history. Like there is a suspicious looking time machine that looks a lot like the DeLorean,
Hmm.
and we have Diane Kruger playing the Belgian witch, and she is suspiciously like Fatales from the past. So yeah, she is a femme fatale, but suspiciously similar to um, back in the 20s called Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, which is a silent film that I really love. And yeah, so lots of massive film references. Really enjoyed that part. Has little flaws in my opinion, and occasionally Carell sort of inner office within himself, which obviously I chalk that up to me loving The Office so much and loving him so much. Occasionally it felt a bit odd, like when because in one part of the film he does that scream that is so, familiar with The Office, and really did like this film. I thought it was really touching, and it was just a good film, and it's up there with my of the year. And yeah, I do recommend it, even though a lot of people online are like, oh, it's such a terrible film. Opinion differs.
Yeah, I'm definitely very, very excited about this. I love Robert Zemeckis. Like, Back to the Future is one of my favorite films ever, so I'm definitely excited about that. And I just like the concept of it. Like, it is something very fresh, very unique, very different. So that definitely piques my interest. I have to say, Steve Carell has been making some incredible career choices as of late. Like, mostly being known as, the guy from The Office, mostly being known as a comedic actor. Like, seeing him doing stuff like this, Beautiful Boy, which I saw a couple weeks ago. He's in Vice as well. Like, he's doing some really good stuff, and this again looks very, very good. I'm very excited about this too.
I think Steve's so good. Like I can't recommend him enough in all his films. Like Beautiful Boy, he is so good. I think he should be sort of in consideration for Oscars, but people are overlooking it sadly. But I think he definitely is like shedding out of his sort of as just a comedic actor, and he's like really proved himself as a drama actor by this point.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very, very happy with where he's going, and I think it's good like to see him mature. Like he was amazing in Beautiful Boy, so good in that movie. So the final movie to review, and prepare for a lot of fanboy talk coming from my end. We have Bumblebee, directed by Travis Knight, starring Haley Steinfeld, John Cena, and many more. This is the prequel to the Transformers franchise, focusing on the character of Bumblebee. This movie shows you how he got to Earth and how he grew into the character we all know and love. Now, I need to say this right off the bat. Transformers is one of my favorite things in the world. Transformers is something I grew up with as a kid. It means a lot to me, Transformers, it really does. And so much so that I'm a complete fanboy of the other films. I love the other films. I know they're terrible. We've had this discussion before, but I love those films, and I don't even give a shit. I love those films. So, safe to say, I was pretty excited about this, and I have this movie, in terms of, like, on pure enjoyment, this might be my favourite film of the year. Like, on pure enjoyment, I had an absolute blast with Bumblebee.
Yeah, so a little backstory. I'm the same thing. I grew up with these films. I grew up with Transformers. I remember going every year to see the new Transformers. And, when I was growing up, me and my parents were like, what film should we watch? Oh, let's watch a Transformers film. So I liked The Last Night all too much. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't enough Optimus Prime. I think the films are not good, but they are enjoyable. And to this, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm excited, but we'll see. And yeah, we'll get into my reaction in a minute. But do you want to do your review first?
Sure. Yeah, I was super, super excited. But Travis Knight, when he was announced as the director, I was so happy. Like, Kubo and the Two Strings is a beautiful little animated film. that didn't get anywhere near enough attention as it deserved. So knowing that talent was behind this, I was like, brilliant. And also just knowing the fact that Michael Bay was not behind it was even better. Granted, even though I like his Transformers films, I was definitely up for a new director for sure. And you can see the difference. It's night and day. Like Michael Bay, his pure focus, all the jokes about him are very well founded in reality. He cares about the big explosions. He wants these big action set pieces that go on for hours. He wants to make 2.5-hour films, close to 3 hours if you're Age of Extinction. So, he really likes these big bombastic moments. This film is so small scale in comparison and so personal. It literally is, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, it's a comparison to obviously E.T., Iron Giant, the boy and the dog sort of thing, or in this case, a girl and a robot. It is very much like that. But I think that works so well for this movie, especially because this is set in the 80s as well. E.T. is an 80s movie, so it works in that sense. I feel like it's very well founded in the 80s. Like, my only complaint with the movie, while we're talking about the 80s stuff, is I feel like the 80s music could have been dialed back a little bit. It kind of felt a bit forced, but other than that, I think this movie is fantastic. The relationship between Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee was so believable. I thought it was beautifully done. I really bought into it, and the fact that, because Haley Steinfeld's character of Charlie, she's very much an outcast. She doesn't quite fit in with even her own family. So the fact that she finds family in Bumblebee is a really nice story. And again, I really believe the fact that, she really cared for Bumblebee. And speaking of Haley Steinfeld, who I'm a huge fan of anyway, but I think this was her best role by miles. She's amazing in this movie. Like, the fact that she gets so emotional in this movie, there's so many fantastic emotional scenes in this film from her. And when you realize that she is literally acting to nothing on a green screen, it's even more impressive. She gets so raw emotional in this, and it really impressed me. It really got to me. And again, I know I'm completely fanboying about this movie. I know I'm going to get completely into this, but I just need to vent. So, yeah, I love Haley Steinfeld, and I'm not just saying that as well because I love her, which I do, but she was great in this film. John Cena, I also loved in this. He's very cheesy, he's very over the top, but I thought he was very self-aware. Some of the one-liners he comes out with are absolutely hysterical. I was just laughing my head off some of the stuff he was saying in this film. And even though he is a very cliche character, he's like very much a cliche Transformers military leader type character, it was very funny in that way just to see him kind of just be that kind of character. Because John Cena really impressed me earlier this year in Blockers. I thought he was very good in that film, and I like that film a lot in general. So I was happy when he was in this. Even the guy who played Memo, like Charlie's kind of love interest, I thought he was good in this as well. The sound design in this movie, you hear that transformation noise so many times, and it's so good to finally hear it properly. You got it a few times in the other films, but like it was mainly used more for marketing, whereas this was like actually in the film. And oh my good god, when you hear Soundwave talk in this movie, oh, I lost my head. It's perfect. It was so well done. It's just such a beautiful noise hearing Soundwave talk in this movie, and just hearing him. And then I have to talk about, the opening 5 minutes alone. If you're a Transformers fan, you need to see this movie just for the opening 5 minutes. Cybertron has always been something that the movies have always been very difficult with. Like, they've never really shown Cybertron. They've never really not in a big way, and they've never really done it properly. Like, it's always been, we need to bring Cybertron to Earth. That's always what they've tried to do. But in this, the movie just opens up. You're on Cybertron immediately. And it looks so good. It looks so real. It looks so like the show. It was amazing, and I completely was lost in this world. I need to see a film completely set on Cybertron. It reminded me very much of the War for Cybertron games that were released, which are the best Transformers games ever. It was very much like that. You get to see the Decepticons like Shockwaves on there. Like, you get to see like the actual classic Shockwave. You get to see the Seekers like Thundercracker and Skywarp and Starscream. You get to see them all on there. And then even on Earth, the Decepticon characters we have, like Shatter and Dropkick, I thought were excellent villains. Like, Shatter is voiced by Angela Bassett. She was great in this. Dropkick is Justin Theroux. And they were also triple changes, which was really cool. We don't really see many triple changes in the movie, so it was nice to see them coming in as a helicopter, a jet, and also as a car as well. That was really cool. And then, like, Blitzwing shows up briefly, which was really awesome. Blitzwing has never been shown in the films either, so that was really cool to have him there. I really thought Barricade was going to show up at one point. There's a scene, you would have seen it in the trailer with a police car. I really was hoping that was Barricade. Unfortunately, it's not, but especially because there were a lot of rumours that Barricade was in this, but I'll let that slide. And oh my god, Optimus Prime in this movie. he was brilliant. Like, just seeing the classic trailer and everything was outstanding. His voice, obviously, Peter Cullen reprises the role. And seeing Bumblebee once again as a VW bug was something that, just kind of harkened back to all those classic, all the classic shows, the toys and things like that. It just really brought all of that home. And I think the real ringing endorsement I have for this movie is that I cried 4 times watching this film. On 4 separate occasions I cried watching this, and not due to the emotion. Granted, this movie is very emotional, but what really made me cry in this movie, it was tears of joy. Seeing something I love so much and hold so dearly represented so well on a big screen. It just made me cry. I was sat there like, this is just perfect. And again, I know this movie's not perfect, but in my eyes, it is. I was watching this movie and I was like, this was everything I wanted and more. I am in love with this movie. I can't wait till it comes out officially because I need to see it again. I'll probably see it more than twice. I will watch this movie time and time again. And like I say, just the fact that I cried 4 times out of pure joy, I think that's a testament. And another thing I'll bring up as well is that normally when I'm watching a film, just purely due to timekeeping or because I'm checking how the pacing is doing, I will check my watch just to see how it's doing. I didn't check my watch once in this film. Not once. And I never do that. Even if it's a film I absolutely love, like for example, like Widows. I love that film, but I did check my watch a couple of times just to check, whatever. But I didn't check my watch once in this movie. I was so lost in it. I was so transcended by it. And anyway, I need to calm down, but this movie, it just floored me in every single way, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah. So, good review. I massive Transformers fan. I love the cartoon. I grew up watching that. Like I said, I grew up watching the films. Love watching the films. They're not very good though. So going into this, I was sort of like expecting something different, and I got something different. I really did like it, and the way that it's sort of directed by Travis Knight and the way the story comes together and how sort of really touching and emotional it is, I think that's the best quality. It's a great sort of coming of age film for Bumblebee and Hailee Steinfeld's character, and from Michael Bay, who's known for his sort of like boom boom explosion stuff that I kind of like a bit, even though it's not very good. Nice to see this sort of sweet, touching, and sort of fun take on, the characters rather than just, jokes that sort of are the worst parts of his films. Oh, look, she's wearing a stripper's dress.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, like sort of pieces falling off of Transformers.
There's not a single like revealing shot of Hailee Steinfeld in this film, like not one. Whereas like if you look at any other Transformers film directed by Michael Bay, there's always the very stereotypical blonde sex object character where the camera just goes on her bum and legs the entire film. There's not one shot like that.
Yeah. So this film is full of heart and humor, and it contrasts very vividly from the other films. So I did really, really like it. I think the thing that mainly worked for me was Bumblebee and the connection with Hailee Steinfeld's character Charlie. But I have to say, surrounding them, I felt like the side characters were rather paper thin, and I didn't like Memo. I know you did. I didn't like John Cena's character. Was he even in the film? I don't even know.
Very good.
WWE reference here.
Very good. I couldn't resist not putting a joke like that in my review. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I just thought John Cena's character wasn't very well written. Yeah, he had some funny lines. I laughed a bit. But apart from that, fine. I thought Memo was kind of a little bit annoying. I don't know. You connect with him, maybe that's just me. I thought the little brother, he had some really funny bits, but also he was really, really annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I get that,
yeah. The
family stuff was like okay.
Yeah, it was okay. He was in the new Diary of the Wimpy Kid film.
Is that who that
film?
Is?
Yeah,
do you know who he really looks like? And this is who I thought it was at first. He really looks like, I think his name's Dylan Grazer, you know, from It.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He really looks like him.
No, well, yeah, I obviously knew who he was because I watched that film. I didn't really like that Diary of the Wimpy Kid film. It's much worse than the other ones. But yeah, he's funny, but he's sort of. I thought the family stuff was kind of thin. But apart from so, yes, I really do like this film. I think the center part of it works really well. I just feel like the outside of the story is sort of a bit sort of flapping in the air. But I have to say, hearing Optimus Prime, seeing Optimus Prime, I thought he wouldn't appear in the film. I know there was a trailer thing, but I didn't know if that was going to properly be in the film. But hearing him being like, Bumblebee,
Yeah, yeah.
you need to protect Earth. You know, that was like chilling for me. I just love Optimus Prime, so I'm glad they put him in. And apparently they're making a spin-off, like just
Yeah.
to do with Optimus Prime,
Give
maybe
me that
Bumblebee
now.
and maybe Haley Steinfeld's character will return.
Yes.
I want to see that film.
Yes. I will take I will
Like
take anything in the vein of this.
yeah, if it's directed, I think Travis Knight should do that as well. I was really impressed by how he sort of put this together. It wasn't like cutting all over the place. He was sort of just relaxing. It felt like he was in control rather than being like, yeah, explosion, explosion, explosion. You know. Um, so I really did like the designs, like seeing the original designs. Like you said, Soundwave. I just sort of that was like a WTF moment for me. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, like when you're on Cybertron, like I was like, because when I need to see it again, like it's proper. But I was like, my eyes were all over the screen. I was like, who's there? Who can I see? Who's there? I was like this. Like seeing the
And
Seekers as well. I love the Seekers. Seeing them, I was like, oh.
and Cybertron was great. I really liked that opening scene. Um, yeah, I was just very, very impressed. And villains were pretty good. I didn't like them so much, but I didn't hate them, uh, or I didn't dislike them. So that was Shatter and Dropkick, and I did like how they were triple changes. Thought that was really cool. Um, and yeah, so I there was one scene in the film that really connected with me, and that was the scene where the music was on and she's in the garage, um, like looking at her dad, and there's the music and it's Unchained Melody,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I love that song, and it was so sad, that scene, and I think I was weeping a bit in that scene if I can remember right, but it stood out to me, and so I thought it was a really solid film, definitely the best made Transformers film yet. You know, full of heart and spirit, and very impressed, but I have to say it wasn't as exciting and thrilling as the other Transformers films, but it wasn't meant to be.
No, it's nowhere near on the same scale. It's kind of, like I mentioned, it was just like this movie's like 10 times smaller than the other ones. Like you do get like a big finale, but it's not anywhere near. It's not like a massive, like it all takes place in like one small like seaside coastal town. It doesn't take place in the middle of Chicago like Dark of the Moon. This movie is just completely, very on its own. And then when you get to see how it connects later on, because this is my only question with Bumblebee now is like, what did they do with this film in terms of the franchise? Because at the end, it does kind of tie in to the first, but then, in the last night they established that Bumblebee's been around since World War Two. But then in this movie, he first arrives to Earth in the '80s. So I feel like it's a soft reboot. I feel like what they're gonna do is they retcon that, because let's be honest, that was stupid anyway. So they retcon that, and then they're just gonna go forward from here. But I feel like I feel like they should probably just use this as a stepping off point and just go from here. Like do that Optimus Prime spin off if you want. I'm definitely up for that. And then just go from there, and then just build it from there, and do this new universe. Because I really hope this movie does well. I really hope it does well. Like I really want to see this movie make a lot of money, so like Hasbro and Paramount realize there is still money in this franchise, and to give Travis Knight the opportunity to do more.
Yeah, imagine if it was like his universe, if he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that
He
Optimus
becomes
Prime
the
film.
Kevin Feige of the Transformers universe.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
I would be down. I just want to see that Optimus Prime film. I just need more Optimus Prime. The last night didn't give me enough.
Yeah, he's barely in that film, isn't he? And then he's like he's Nemesis Prime for most of it. But like I remember like just seeing like the projection of him, and then when he actually does show up at the end, because there isn't it's kind of like a post credit scene. It's not a post credit scene. It's more of like a post film scene, I guess you'd
I
call it.
love that ending.
Yeah, it's like a cool little ending where you see, Optimus actually show up and he's talking to Bumblebee, and then that's how Bumblebee turns into the Camaro from the 1974 Camaro. That was really nice. That was a nice little touch. And seeing him drive off with the trailer, like Optimus with the trailer, like I don't know if have the films ever done the trailer. I think Dark of the Moon did it, but not really. But this was actually the trailer. It was actually there, driving across the San Francisco Bridge, and I just like again I started crying. I was like, this is amazing. Like I honestly I know I fanboy about this movie, and you can shout at me all you want, but I just couldn't get enough from this movie. I just think it was a dream come true, and I want to thank Travis Knight for making this movie and making my dreams come true, making my childhood come true.
What would you rank Bumblebee, like out of 5 stars?
5. 10.
5. Films that I've reviewed in this thing, I would give Mary Poppins 5 star easily. I would give Welcome to Marwin a 4 star. Give Bumblebee a somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4.
Outrageous.
No, but that's not to say I didn't.
Outrageous.
I loved it though. I really did like it.
It's a 6.
I don't know.
It's a 6 out of 5. No, I love the movie.
10 out of 5.
I adore the movie so much. I could talk about it all day. You've probably been able just to tell by the tone of my voice how excited I am about this movie. It comes out officially on the 24th, so it comes out in a few days here. I'm going to be watching that movie definitely. This might rival Infinity War for like the amount of times I watch it. I watched Infinity War 4 times in the cinema. This might rival it. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say I really appreciate the runtime as well. The runtime was really good because Transformers movies, as much as I love them, they're so long. Especially Age of Extinction is close to 3 hours. Like the only other film that I've watched about that long that but it was actually good was Blade Runner 2049. Like that film's completely justified to be that long, whereas Age of Extinction was just like nah. But like this one is just under 2 hours and it's perfect.
Yeah, I really did like it, and like Infinity War 4 times. I watched Leave No Trace 4 times. That's my film this year, and I watched A Quiet Place 3 times, Hereditary 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I watched Infinity War twice. I want to see Bumblebee again, but I might wait till it's on DVD. I don't know.
I will watch it. Like, most of the box office will probably be from me, to be honest. So, anyway, that brings us to the close of this episode of Real Movie Talk. If you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure you do share it around with any other movie fans who you think may enjoy this content. Like I say, by the next episode, we could be on 100 subscribers. Who knows? We might be there. If that's the case, we might do something a bit special. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, next episode we might be doing our top 10 of the year, maybe. I think so.
Yeah, definitely. That would be really good.
That'd be a good way to end off the year. So yeah, if you wanna hear that, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when these episodes release. And as always, if you want to see more of my Transformers fanboying, make sure you head over to my movie channel. And if you want to see more awesome movie content and also DCTV content, make sure you head over to either of our channels for all of that. And as always, I've been Dak.
Been Ben.
And we hope to see you guys again in the next episode.